Hey, we're back with part two. We're back with Scotty Elyanow talking about the West Village and real estate and all the good stuff that's happening in New York City. So you told us about the lows. What are some of the highs and some of the hot spots that's happening in the village right now?
Hot spots, some great Italian restaurants, Via Carota,
Okay.
Buvette,
Yeah.
Isodi, all great Italian spots. Little Owl is fantastic. These are all like, European feel, small cafes. You probably can't get a, table for more than 4 people in a lot of these places. You really need reservations for all of them, but the food is
Really good.
great. I do like, I love going to Red Farm.
Okay.
Red Farm on Hudson is some sort of Asian fusion, but the presentation is great. The food is incredibly creative. I mean, they have Cat's pastrami egg rolls.
Right.
I mean, it's to die for.
Yeah,
for real.
Some good eating.
Good. And then,
what about nightlife? What's happening on the nightlife?
so, I'm a jazz person.
Okay.
So I love going to the jazz clubs, and they get some of the best players. So you go to Smalls on 10th Street. Depending on when you go, there could be a line out the door. Small little venue, maybe the room is like 500 or 600 square feet. So you're tight in with the musicians.
Right.
And they have some of the best musicians in the city. They do about 3 shows a night. I think they go to like 4 in the morning. Really great, and it's opened I think in '94, and I used to come to the city, and it used to be BYOB, so we used to go around the corner,
Get your
bring a
liquor,
6-pack and
back.
go listen to jazz. And now they serve booze.
Okay.
They caught on.
Okay. What else is hot?
So, the Village Vanguard is the legendary spot.
Right.
When you go there and you feel the presence of John Coltrane and Miles Davis and, even Barbra Streisand.
Right.
Because she used to do that.
Yeah, Barbara used to do that. She used to hum a tune. Yeah.
That's right. So, it's like that sort of like legendary.
Right.
But, really it's a lot of the live music. You have other, smaller jazz clubs associated with that. Love going to a piano bar. So Marie's Crisis or Duplex is always fun if you have people from out of town. So many like great venues. Not real big on clubs, but certainly we're right next to the Meatpacking District. So if you need to, get your dance on, there's plenty of options there.
Okay.
And also what I love about the West Village too is the Whitney. Now that the Whitney's there, it's been there a couple of years, it becomes a little bit of a destination. Because the Meatpacking District, from 15 years ago is not the same.
Right.
I worked at a bar when I first came to New York called Hell.
Okay.
And that was on Gansevoort Street.
And then right next to Laurent.
Right next to Florent.
Which was
the legendary diner.
Yes.
Where the only place you could go where you would have cops eating there, drag queens, hookers, club kids, and maybe like David Bowie would walk in, or Madonna, or Iman, or whatever. Random.
It was a late night spot. I missed that spot. I missed that spot.
That was the best.
That was the best. Yeah.
So like that whole area is like we used to have Johns and their sex workers, come in, use our bathroom. We'd say, hey, what's going on? Like everybody knew everybody.
Right. No, it's true.
But they had 5 a.m. all the meat carcasses out there, and the place smelled like the Meatpacking District.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's happening now? What I mean, with rents going up, rents so high, a lot of the West Village kind of lost its charm based on the fact that rents are too damn high. And so what do you see happening in the future? Not Giuliani, but the mayor, de Blasio, stated that he wanted to come up with a vacancy tax because landlords are just leaving their commercial fronts, vacant, looking for that high rent. What do you think about that?
I said we have such blight right now on Bleecker Street, on so many stores in the West Village. And, the reason, you have so many landlords which over the last few years have been, getting exorbitant rents. So you can have a space that is maybe 800 square feet on Bleecker Street.
Right.
And they used to be getting 30, 40,000 a month, which is inconceivable because nobody can make that kind of money.
Right.
So when landlords have that, for them to now take on a rent that's say 10,000, that devalues their entire building, so they'd rather just keep it empty.
Right.
So that's the strategy. However, with a vacancy tax, they should be penalized for keeping it empty.
Right.
Because it really is a blight. You have literally every other store on Bleecker Street is empty, and then all other side streets. So something has to be done. I am part of a little bit of initiative along with others to help save mom and pops in the neighborhood. Because that's really what it's about, is saving the small businesses. We used to, walk down Bleecker and there were like, tarot card readings and and gypsies selling jewelry.
It was
and
unique. That's what made everybody fit there.
That's why people love it. That's why Dylan and Joni Mitchell wrote about it. This is the charm, and of course we're losing a lot of the charm. Right. But there is an opportunity to make a comeback.
Right. I mean, I think another reason is, of course, brick and mortar is dead per se, because everybody's going on the internet and stuff like that. But it's interesting how the commercial brokers don't understand the disconnect between, okay, it's not that many businesses looking to pay $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000 worth of rent, and then you have a store here, and like, why wouldn't you want your neighborhood to be filled with life? Because it's going to value your building as well. I mean, even your tenants in your building need the services that you're having there. So I always find that to be a conundrum right now.
Well, it is, because many commercial brokers are in the business of turnover. So they want to tell the landlord, oh, I know they're paying $8,000, but you can get $25,000.
Right.
So let's try to rent it.
Right.
Well, guess what? It's still empty. Right. The big Barnes and Noble, that was the B. Dalton on 6th and 8th, giant space that has been empty for 6 years. There's no reason for that. And nobody's gonna rent that space, not at that price. So it is, New York is very expensive to live, and the Village is one of the most expensive. What do you think, besides the charm where do you think is the next spot in Lower Manhattan that has that Village feel? Is there any other neighborhood that's similar? I think the thing is that what people don't realize is that they hear West Village is so expensive. The reality is there is such a mix of different types of properties. Like, you can get a small studio, or yes, you can get a fancy condo, but there is such a mix of inventory. Right. Once you start getting outside of the Village, let's say FIDI, they've been pushing FIDI forever, Financial District. It's all condos, it's bigger condos, it's doormen. Some people just want to walk around there, and they want to come home and never have to leave the neighborhood. And that's how I've set up my entire life. I walk to my office. Most of my appointments are in walking distance. The fact that I don't have to take a subway for much of the week is a game changer for my, being. Right. People hear about how crazy the subways have been and getting around and Uber this and that. And, I'm able to walk to work. I'm able to walk to appointments. I'm able to bike if I really want to bike, So a lot of people do want to live in the West Village because of that. They want to come home. They don't mind walking up 5 flights, and being in a tiny, tiny place, if they can stay in the neighborhood. So, West Chelsea is a good alternative. Some people like going far out to Alphabet City on the east side, but transportation. We're lucky because I literally have every train line, every train line. Totally. And guess what? Everybody, all of my friends, nobody says, "Hey, come meet me on the Upper East Side on 91st in York, and we're gonna hang out." I'm like, nobody says that. Number one, and number two, like, everybody's like, "Well, what's going on in the Village?" Like, everything. What do you want to do?
It's true. Well, let's divert. We'll switch off of that. You do a lot with kids in summer, during the summer, which I've always was impressed by. What got you involved in working with kids? And don't you do Camp America?
Camp AmeriKids. So I actually have a gift for you.
Oh, okay. We love gifts.
So this is our 20th anniversary. This is a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Camp AmeriKids.
Camp AmeriKids,
Limited edition cup.
Love it, love it.
So...
See America?
And we'll put all the info on the website.
I'll trade you one.
That is fair enough. So Camp AmeriKids is part of an umbrella organization called the Elm Project.
Okay.
Okay, so you could go to campamerickids.org. You can go to elm-project.org.
Okay.
It's an amazing camp that I got started with actually before real estate. So about 15, 16 years ago, my friend said, hey, do you want to, we're volunteer to, camp for a week? And I'm like, sure, camp upstate.
Right.
I used to be a camp counselor when I was a teen in Cape Cod, and, I love camp.
Okay.
So it went up, it changed my entire life. The camp serves New York City area kids, about 25% from the Bronx, and then, a bunch of other boroughs, Staten Island, some from New Jersey, but mostly New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Harlem. They are kids that are dealing with, they're either impacted or infected with HIV, AIDS, or sickle cell.
Oh, okay.
So it's the only camp of its kind where, let's say if one brother is HIV positive, that his brother who isn't can come to the same camp.
Wow, so that's amazing.
So it's a way to have, families, entire families, and we have a lot of them, come to camp where the parents can get a respite from having to deal with the medical care and the emotional care. So we have a medical staff of 12 nursing students from Columbia. Okay. The university. And we also have 2 emergency room doctors on staff 24 hours during the camp. So
how many kids usually?
We have, if we do 2 one-week sessions, it's usually about 125 kids per week. Yep.
Okay.
And then we have about 100 volunteers from all over the world, as far as New Zealand, Australia, that come every year to help with the kids.
How much does it cost a family?
It costs the kids nothing. It costs the families nothing. Okay. Everything is donations, and we are a really we're a struggling organization. We have been for years.
Who's your major funder, or do you have one?
It's really word of mouth. We have we have pockets here and there of corporations that fund, but we don't have a giant funder. We used to be part of a giant nonprofit called AmeriKids, which is amazing work. But when the recession happened, we had to break off because they couldn't fund us. So we went out on our own, got our own funding, and it's really expensive to run a camp.
So you are a 501(c)(3),
yes,
a nonprofit organization. Have you guys looked at partnering with any advocacy groups? Yeah, I mean we are in the stages of partnering with people. One of the major issues that we've had over the years, the camp started in 1995. Okay. So you can imagine during the, HIV, before the medicines, we would have a lot of kids who this is all they're looking forward to because they may not be around next year. And there was a lot of, people didn't have a life expectancy. Yeah. Thank God for medicine, a lot of that has changed. It's been such a blessing because I've been able to see 7-year-olds that I've had in relationships with now
that
22.
have graduated college. Yeah. I'm writing recommendations for them for their jobs. Wow. They're having kids. We're meeting up in the park with their kids. It is a home. Right. It is a family. So a lot of them, and some of the younger ones that keep coming back every year, we've had an 80% return rate every year. Wow. They base their year based on when camp starts. Wow. So when they come to camp, it's like Happy New Year. Yeah, right. And it's something that they can look forward to every year. So if their mom or guardian says, do well in school, behave so that you can go to camp. Right. That's always the carrot that's being dangled.
How are kids selected and what age groups are there?
So the age groups are 7 to 16. Okay. And then we also have a leadership program, which is year round. Okay. which we deal with the 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
Right, okay.
And so we help them with everything from the leadership program, we help them with everything from, you know, resume building to, you know, we'll go see theater. You know, we took them last month to meet with, we have some volunteers on our staff from the Legal Aid Society. So we took them down to Legal Aid, and we gave them a 101 on the Constitution and knowing your rights. So if a cop stops you, what are your rights? Can they take your phone? You know, can they look, you know, all of that stuff. Very important stuff. So we do a lot of that with the older kids. With the camp itself and how we get the kids is we work with about 25 to 35 social service agencies in the New York City area that will refer them to us. And you know, all of our kids
all the agencies know about this camp.
Many agencies do. The real struggle we've had over the years is, you know, in a lot of these camps and organizations, there's always like, you know, a celebrity person that can say, hey, it's, you know, whoever, name, insert a celebrity. What do celebrities want to do? They want to come up to camp, take pictures with the kids, donate money, spread the word, which is all great, but we are a non-disclosure camp. We can't have any faces out there. So in a lot of ways, there's not enough incentive for celebrities to come because, you know, we have to get
they can't get the photo out. From the, they can't do the things that...
Because it would seem like a very simple thing because we're also servicing New York City community and doing such amazing work, but it's hard to connect, which most organizations don't have that issue.
problem,
So we're trying to transition to something that's more like, let's say, social media friendly because we're in a different age now. So we are working with that and we accept, you know, we'll accept, you know, any show of support, you know, from anybody. There's a lot of, you know, celebrities that have been, you know, impacted by HIV in some way, whether it's a parent or a sibling, or sickle cell. We are doing a huge fundraiser in June at Chelsea Piers. And where some of the kids will be there, some of the grads will be there. In fact, one of our graduates is putting together a little documentary fundraising with other grads, interviewing them about their camp experience.
Oh, that's great.
So we're trying to, the joy is being able to see the kids go from 7 years old to giving back when they're 22 or 24.
How did you get connected to the camp? I forgot how you said
A friend just said, hey, my friend volunteers at this camp. Would you like to do it? And I'm like, okay. Sounds good. And then it literally changed my life.
In today's work environment balance, how do you balance yourself out? How do you?
It's a three-pronged. In New York, it's three-pronged. Okay, it's work, working hard. Being present. Number two, giving back. So not only with the camp, but I volunteer with the Christopher Park Alliance, which I'm helping garden and plant, you know, the park in the community and do
your community gardens.
And then travel. And
travel is that thread that everybody loves to, you know. I find everybody who have that good balance of life love to, you know, vacate the city
and people and it's, I think if you live in New York, it is about vacating the city. So not to be confused with, you don't have to have a lot of money to travel. It's, you know, I know Miami is easier to get to than the Hamptons.
And that's why I chose Miami.
So, you know, in many ways, but at the same time, like getting 45 minutes or an hour upstate, you know, or down the Jersey Shore, or I like going up to Western Mass in the Berkshires. You don't need a lot of money, but it's really about getting out. Like, you know, hop on the Metro North, you know, take $12, hop on the Metro North and go up to Storm King or go to a park and just be in nature. Like we have some of the most beautiful landscapes up here. And a lot of people think you need to, you know, go to, you know, I don't know, the Caribbean or go to wherever.
No.
And you don't need to, you just really just need to get out of the city. You know, you can go to the cloisters if you need to. You can go to Central Park.
No, it's enough green spaces to do it and stuff. So my final question is, and the loved one is, how do you love the way you live?
Man, do I love the way I live. It's really about when I need my own time, I take my own time.
Okay.
You know, I have, you know, I am a homebody. I love the apartment I live in. I've been there for 14 years. It is peaceful. It's my little Zen palace.
Okay.
So when I'm, you know, done with the stresses of real estate, you know, I come home, I throw on some jazz, I light one of my many scented candles. And hopefully, so if the West Village burns down, it's going to smell like ocean, you know, breeze or something like that. But it's really that, and being able to be in a neighborhood where I can meet people out, you know, for, you know, have a happy hour drink, and,
right,
you know, and just really
keep it simple.
Keep it really simple,
but with conversation.
Yeah, and like that's what I like to do. I like to be able to go to a place where I can talk with people. And let me tell you, the stoop.
Yes.
I have a beautiful stoop that is right in the middle of the West Village where I can people watch
all day.
And it's amazing, you know, because once in a while you'll see celebrities and, you know, things like that. And the other day we're sitting on the stoop, you know, having some wine and drinks, and then one of the girls, Alana from Broad City, the great show, she walks by. I didn't know who she was.
Right.
She's like, "Hey, can I sit with you guys?"
Wow.
And we're like, I don't know who's girls. Okay, fine. So the next thing I know, it's like,
it's
okay,
you.
You have a show and everything, and you're just like, she's like, "Want a sip from your drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, sip, whatever." It's
right.
You know, but it's like the stoop is like old school New York.
Yes.
You know, it's like people come by, you know, in and out whenever they're in the neighborhood, and that's like, it just reminds me of why we're all here.
Right. Totally. I love it. I love the connections. Well, everybody, I want to thank our guest, Scott Elyanow, for coming through today. You can check out Scott, you guys, on with Love the Way You Live, NYC.com. He will be on all my social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And until next time, continue to celebrate life and love the way you live.